If you have a 2006 to 2012 Toyota Rav4, it's your third gen Rav4, and you've got check engine lights on, it can be daunting because many things can cause this to come on. But I'm going to go over one of the most common things. It's your P0172 code. It's very common for your four-wheel drive and your traction control trouble lights to come on when your check engine light is on. So you'll need to have a scanner to really dig down and find out what the cause is. You don't want to just start changing parts. P0172 is the code for the engine running too rich, and it's going to say bank 1. It's something to note on this vehicle, on the 4-cylinder, there is no bank 1, bank 2. It just shows bank 1, but that's for the entire engine. It's only a 4-cylinder. You don't have two sides here. There's a few different things that can cause this P0172 code to pop up. One of them is a dirty or a faulty MAF sensor. That's your mass airflow sensor. A bad oxygen sensor could do it. Leaking fuel injectors can do it, although that's like a last case scenario. Engine coolant temperature sensors, if that's bad, that can cause this. A stuck open thermostat can cause that. And then some vacuum leaks or maybe even a restricted air filter. So we're going to walk through this one here. I'll show you what I found. Hopefully it can help you out. As I mentioned, using a scan tool is really the best way to go about this. You'll rule out any guesswork and you'll really get down to the bottom of it. I'll put a link to a few decent models below. In my case here, the P0172 code was by itself. It wasn't accompanied by any other codes. For me, that meant ruling out things like a vacuum leak or a fuel injector leak. A fuel injector leak would have most likely resulted in some additional codes for misfires, and a vacuum leak would pop up most likely codes for evap issues. I also have no codes showing any trouble with the oxygen sensors, and I just cleaned out the airbox and changed my air filter, so I'm going to focus on the other issues here. If you have any accompanying codes, you want to attack those problems first. In this case here, what we'll want to do is get a scanner connected and watch live data. And we're going to want to look at our temperatures, our airflow, and our fuel trims. Now you can see here, I've just started the vehicle from a cold state, and what you want to pay attention to are your temperatures, your airflow, and your fuel trims. And what I see here right off the bat is a problem. Negative 25% on the long-term fuel trim. That means this has been trimmed out for quite some time. That's why that rich code is showing up. But this here is a cold start. So what we want is both of those temperatures to rise up enough to where the vehicle's warm. Once that happens, the engine should adjust trim accordingly. What ended up happening in this case is my coolant temperature went up to 190 degrees, but my engine coolant temp stayed at 43. That means one of two things. Either the ECT is not working, the coolant temp sensor is not working, or the circuit for it itself, or possibly a stuck open thermostat. Although here with these numbers, 190 to 43, I don't think that would be the case. I think those numbers will get closer towards each other. So I'm going to swap out that ECT. Now this car has two temp sensors, one for the coolant and one for the engine coolant. So the one by the radiator, that's the one coolant. That's the one that's going to hit 190 for me. The one that's not moving is this one right here. It's in the engine block. It's not that difficult to get to. You'll have to remove one bracket. There's a bracket just over it that holds the harness for your O2 sensor. And then there's a C-clip that just snaps onto this hose right here. One 10mm bolt will pull this bracket out and it gives you ample space here to get in there. You'll need a 19mm wrench. It's easy to use a ratcheting wrench. You're not going to get a socket on there. You'll need a deep socket, and then you have not enough clearance to put a ratchet in there. But a ratcheting wrench will fit in there just perfect. It shouldn't be held on too tight. A little tap to break it free, and you can take this out by hand. Just remember that there will be coolant that leaks out when you take this out. Obviously, you don't want to do this at all if the engine is warm in any way. Put some paper towels or some rags underneath to help catch some of the coolant. Pull this out, have your new one ready to go. So you can pull this out, put the new one in immediately. Before removing your old one, test fit your new ECT with your existing plug, just in case that harness is different. Also very important, make sure you have the correct one. I'm using a Denso brand unit. Use the Denso. It's very tempting to buy something cheaper. I've done that before and it just ended up with more problems. But once you break it free, you're able to remove this by hand. So again, make sure you have a rag or some paper towels underneath and have your new sensor ready to go. Pull the old one out, put the new one in. Important. The new one, the correct one, will come with a crush washer. If you get yourself one from, say, AutoZone, it might have a rubber O-ring on there, but you want the Denso one with the crush washer. So when you take your original one off, make sure you don't leave that old crush washer on the engine block. You don't want to double that up. Pull the old one out, put the new one in, and tighten it down. The next step is to reconnect the plug, but I noticed here on my car that the locking tab was broken, and that could lead to an issue. There is some weatherproofing inside of these plugs that help create a snug connection, but it's still not a good idea to have this here without that locking clip. So pigtails are available. I'll put a link to it below. I'm going to swap mine out right now. Once again, test fit the new pigtail on your new ECT just to make sure it fits in it and it snaps and holds secure. Then you're going to want to transfer these cables. I'm going to pull off this entire loom here just to give myself some extra space. And of course, pay attention to the wire color so you make sure you get the wire correctly. I'm going to use butt connectors here that have a gel inside to help prevent corrosion. And I'm going to come back later on and tape it all up. Whether you're using your existing harness or you just splice in a new one, make sure this is fully seated into your sensor. Listen for that click. Using the 10mm bolt, reinstall that bracket that holds the O2 sensor wire and then clip that C-clip back onto that hose. What's left now is to run those same tests watching that live data. Now here you can see I've just started the car from a cold state again. It's about 40 degrees here temperature outside, so it's got some time to go before it gets up to temp. But you can see right here the long and the short fuel trims are completely off. After running the car for some time, my temperatures are climbing and you can see my trims are already starting to correct themselves. At this point, I'd be ready to reset my check engine light, but with these numbers, the lights actually turned off by themselves within about half an hour. So essentially what was happening is the vehicle thought that the engine was still in a cold state. It never saw the temperature rising because that sensor was bad. And it adjusted fuel trims thinking that the car was still cold. But then the vehicle sees that it's been running for more than an hour or 2 hours, your long-term fuel trims are starting to get affected, and it knows that your car should be warmed up by now. Check engine light gets triggered. This can also happen if that thermostat was stuck open. Something else I did notice while looking at these numbers, however, and it's the numbers for my mass airflow sensor. Weren't exactly where they should be, and they fluctuated a little bit. So my idea was to go in there and clean it, and that's an easy thing to do. You'll pull your sensor out and you clean it off. But I noticed that this was not, it was a no-name brand unit. And again, Toyotas are really finicky with their sensors. Go with the Denso. So here I'm just going to swap that out. And swapping out your sensor is very easy. 2 screws, pull out, harness unplugs, new one goes back in. There is an O-ring attached to the sensor itself. Just make sure that that's in and you'll know it because this will seat nice and tight. Quick recap on the most common causes for your P0172 code on your Toyota RAV4. You could have a faulty MAF sensor. You could have a bad or dirty oxygen sensor. Leaking fuel injectors could cause it. A failed engine coolant temp sensor or the circuit for it. A stuck open thermostat or issues with vacuum leaks or restricted airflow. This is the path you want to follow when you have this code, and absent any other accompanying codes, you can start with the easy things like I did here. If you're troubleshooting the same code on your vehicle and it's not the coolant temp sensor like it was in my case, click the links here. I'll show how to replace a thermostat and how to replace your upstream oxygen sensor. This chart shows acceptable values for different live data PIDs when scanning and testing in your vehicle. I'll put links to the items and tools I've used down below. I like making these videos to show how easy it is to do some of these things on your own, and of course to save a ton of money while doing it. And if you use my links below, I will earn a whole 17 cents.